This week is Parshas Chukas, Parshas Parah in Eretz Yisrael. And you know the parsha of Parah, how does it connect with Korach? So the truth is that Rashi doesn't ask, Lama Nismecha, Parshas Parah, the Parshas Korach, but the question is an obvious question because we know from the Braisa in Mesechtes Gittin, Daf Samach, that the parsha of Parah was said on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. It's one of the 8 parshas that was said on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So why does it appear over here after the Maisa of Korach? There must be some kind of a connection. So I think that really the parsha of Korach might be an antidote to the parsha of Parah, to Korach. In other words, the correction of Korach's mistake, the tikkun of Korach's chait, lies in the parsha of Parah. And how's that? You know, it connects with what we spoke last week. But first of all, you know, it says Zois Chukas HaTorah. The Mefarshim ask, why does it say Zois Chukas HaTorah? It's Chukas HaPorah. Seems like this Chukah is Shaykh to Kol HaTorah Kula. Why is that? So, you know, we were talking about the fact that Korach's chait lies in his saying that Kol HaEdah Kulam Kedoshim Ubesoicham Hashem Umadua Tisnasu. Korach wants to be able to be just like the Kohen Gadol, wants to be able to enter the Kodesh HaKadoshim. And we spoke about the fact that, as Rashi says, that Vayikach, Korach ben Yitzhar ben Amram ben Kohoz ben Levi, the reason that Yaakov is not mentioned here is because he was mispalel b'koholom al teichat kivoidi. He was mispalel that he should not be mentioned in the context of the machloikes of Korach. So it seems that without Yaakov Avinu's special request, he should have been mentioned over here. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh points out that we need to understand why would he be mentioned. So we were talking about the fact that Yaakov Avinu really was not born the Bechor. Vayetze Harishoin Admoini, the first emerged red, and he was Vayikru Shmoy Esov. Va'achakach Yotza Ochiv V'yodo Yoichezes Ba'akev Esov Vayikru Shmoy Yaakov. So mitzad the Seder Hadvarim, the natural Seder Hadvarim, Yaakov Avinu was not the Bechor, and Esov had the right to do the Avodah. And Yaakov Avinu somehow managed to buy the Bechorah from Esov. So in a sense, he's doing the same thing as Korach. Korach wants to be the Kohen Gadol. No, Yaakov Avinu wants to be able to be the Kohen, to have the Avodah. He takes it from Esov. He buys it from Esov with a tremendous effort. So l'chorah, it would seem that what Korach is doing actually is rooted in his grandfather Yaakov's behavior. And there's a Shari Tshuva in Orach Chaim Siman Tov Pei Beis that brings from a Shilas Tshuva's Beis Yehuda that 2 people were in jail or in a midbar, and there was only one kezayis of matzah, b'tzimtzum. So the Shilas Tshuva's Beis Yehuda says, Hakol tolui b'chol da'alim gvar. Whoever can manage to grab that piece of matzah for himself, he should have it. So the Shari Tshuva L'chatchila thought that the Beis Yehuda is talking even about a case where the matzah belongs to one of them, that the other one can steal it, but he says that can't be, because if he would steal it, he wouldn't be mekayim the mitzvah of matzah, because it would be a mitzvah bo ba'avera. So he says it must be that the kezayis is hefker, and he should take it for himself because chayecha koidmin. Just like we say with regards to saving my life, my physical life, chayecha koidmin, the same is true about my spiritual life. And then he brings in the name of a Sefer Igeres Shmuel on Megillus Rus, that when Boaz says to the Goyel, B'yoim knoischa miyad Rus hamoy aviyah, why does he refer to Rus as a moy aviyah in this context? Because he's really trying to make Rus lose favor in the eyes of the Goyel, because he wants Rus for himself in order that he should be able to be maimed the shalsheles of Malchus Beis David. And he says that in spite of the fact that you're not allowed to trick somebody, also l'ramois es chaveiroi, he says, Hainu dafke b'davar shebamamen. Avol b'mitzvahs, afshi efshe likach miyad hazoiche, kegoin kisui hadam and mila, you can't grab it. Mikol makom kol shaloi zocha adayin, hareu kemidbor hefkel hakoil, v'chol odom nitztav v'lahashlim es nafshoi v'liskef b'mitzvahs. And therefore, there's nothing wrong about Boaz trying to hint to the Goyel that he shouldn't take Rus because she's a Moaviyah. And he continues, V'zehu inyin Yaakov Avinu b'bchoira u'b'brachos, v'fi she'ro v'yoda she'esav hismaker l'asoi sorah, v'hu tzorich lezeh lahashlim nafshoi. And he brings, in the name of Reb Meir Arama, that he was mefarish. There's a pasuk in Ovadia that says, Mechamas ochicho Esav, ochicho Yaakov techasecho busha. From the chomos, the lashon of stealing, of your brother Yaakov, you shall be covered with shame. The pashut pshat is that Esav should be ashamed for robbing Yaakov. But the Reb Meir Arama says faket, that Esav should be embarrassed because he should be mizboinen that Yaakov Avinu, who wasn't the Bechor, was Chaimes the Bechor. He almost stole it from him. So you see how important his spiritual madrege was to him, that he was even Chaimes the Bechor. And you, Esav, who had the Bechor, gave it up. And that's how we read the pasuk, Mechamas ochicho Yaakov techasecho busha. And he says a person should do kol titzdiki, he should do everything he can in order to acquire any ruchniistic madrege. And so Mamela, it comes out that the midah of yeshli koil that Yaakov Avinu I have everything. He was a samer bechelkoi. But that's only in Mili de Alma. In Mili de Shmaya, we say Ubimitzvaysecha tirdoif nafshi, that a person should be chasing after mitzvahs above and beyond his place. So, Korach really wants to do the same thing. He wants to become the Kohen Gadol. And the Chayra Yaakov Avinu's name should be mentioned because he's doing the same thing. It's really not clear. Why do we consider what Korach did to be a chait? You could say that it's the way he went about it, that he went about it with machlokes. But actually, the psukim say otherwise. Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Vayomer Moshe el Korach Shimuna b'nei Levi hama'at mikem ki hivdil Elokei Yisrael eschem me'adas Yisrael lahakriv eschem elov." So you see that the taina is that they want what is not theirs. That's the taina. No, Yaakov Avinu also wanted what was not his. So it's really not so clear. It must be one of the possible explanations that true, one should aspire, one should have ambition, one should have a drive to go above and beyond his place in Ruchnius, but there's a gvul, there's a boundary, there are goals that are unattainable, and a person has to have the siyata d'shmaya, to know what's within his reach with his shtadlus and what's beyond his reach. Yaakov Avinu actually was right when he wanted the Bechorah v'Haraya, he taka got it. And Esav was wrong when he wanted the Kohana Gdoila v'Haraya, he didn't get it. And for that, one needs Siyata D'Shmaya to know where to put the limits on his ambition. That's really not such a pasha tazach. So B'Kaholam Al Teichat Kevoidi is really about the Chut HaSaira that's between Yaakov and Korach. Korach's ambition was outside the realm of legitimate ambition, whereas Yaakov's ambition was within the realm. You know, we said that Korach, it says in the Sefer Gilgulei Neshamis of the Ramami Fanoi, in the name of the Arizal on the pasuk Oy mi yichye mi sumoi el, which the pasuk, the meaning is who will survive when he imposes these. But the Ramami Fanoi says that sumoi el stands for Shmuel, and that Bilam was bemoaning when the fact that Korach will have a tikkun through Shmuel, he will be Yichye mi Shmuel, and I, Bilam, will not have a tikkun. So we see that Shmuel is the tikkun for Bilam. How do we explain that? It could be because we know that Chana was mispalel v'nosato la'amoscho zera anoshim, human seed, manly seed. The Gemara says, "Ki oser avdimi Amarav loy oroich v'loy gutz," not too tall, not too short. Loy tzachar v'loy gichar, not too pale, not too dark. Loy chacham v'loy tipish, not too smart, not too dumb. And then it says, "Vayitein el hanar hazeh espalalti, vayitein Hashem she'ilosi asher sha'alti mi'imoy," that her prayer was answered and she got what she asked for. So it would seem that Shmuel was Zera Anoshim, Loi Chocham V'loi Tipish. And nevertheless it says, Moshe v'Aharon b'choyanov u'Shmuel b'korei Shemoy. Chazal say in Brachas that Shmuel is shokul keneged Moshe v'Aharon. From the same pasuk actually, Zera Anoshim, we learn, Zera hashokul k'shnei Anoshim, uman inun Moshe v'Aharon. So you see that if somebody actualizes his potential, somebody realizes his potential, that he's equal to Moshe Rabbeinu. Even if he is on a totally different madrege, his place is his mission. And if he fulfills that, he's shokul keneged Moshe v'Aharon. So you see, the mice is like this. When we talk about Parah Aduma, we see an interesting thing, that Parah Aduma is a choik. What's the choik? Chazal say it's mitaheres tmeim and it's mitamet tahorim. What does that stand for? What does that stand for? So it could be the pasuk says in Hosea, Yishorim darkei Hashem, Tzadikim yelchu vom, u rishoim upoishim yikoshlu bom. So the poishim, the rishoim, they stumble in the darkei Hashem. But what does that mean? Why do the rishoim stumble in the darkei Hashem? Yishorim darkei Hashem, Tzadikim yelchu bom, u rishoim yikoshlu bom. So Rashi says, Yikoshlu bam ki loy hoilchim b'derech zoy, that they stumble because they don't go in the derech Hashem. But that's l'chara a mechudish dekapshat. The normal reading of the pasuk is Yishorim darkei Hashem tzadikim yelchu bam u'rishoim yikoshlu bam, that they're nichshal in the darkei Hashem, not that they don't follow the darkei Hashem. So it would be a tochen, because the Rambam says in Hilchos Deis that the refuas hanefoshois is by going to the other extreme. He writes that a healthy, regular person should be going in the middle of the road, the Shvil Hazov, not too much to this side and not too much to that side. But somebody who has gone too far to the wrong side, in order to break his midah, has to go all the way to the other extreme. And then he will come to the happy medium. So and the Rambam over there says Mefurish that the Derech HaEmtsois is the Derech HaYeshora, and that's the Derech Hashem. So Lefize Kumtois, that Tzadikim Ayel Chuvam in the Derech Hashem, which is the Derech HaMamutze. But Rishoyim Ayikoshlu Bum, because if they go in the Derech HaMamutze, it doesn't work for them, because they need to go to the Kitzonius, they need to go to the other extreme. Now in the Maisa Poro, we find that the Erez, the eighth Erez is the Gavoya Mikolo Ilonis, and the Ezoiv is the Nomoich Mikul on the grass, is the lowest. And the Chazal say that it's a siman Shahagavoya Shen is Goe, the Chote Yashpil Esatzmoy. Now, this extreme anova could be unhealthy for somebody that's healthy. And that's what we're saying, that it's mitaher tmeim umetame tahorim. In other words, not everybody has to feel like an ezoiv. It's the misgoeh, like the eight erez, that we ask of him to become a nomoich ke'ezoiv. So it's mitaher tmeim. But the same thing that's mitaher tmeim is mitame tahorim. And therefore it says, Zois Chukas HaTorah, because the emes is that this choik of mitaher tmeim and mitame tahorim is really something that is in Kol HaTorah Kula. That one has to find how and what works for him. And it's not one size fits all. You know, the Sifri says in Parshas Ha'azinu, Keseirim alei deshe, ma seirim halolu yordim al asabim umalim oisam. It rains on the asabim and it makes them grow. V'yesh bahem yeroikim, v'yesh bahem adumim, v'yesh bahem shchorim, v'yesh bahem levonim. Kach divrei Torah. Yesh bahem rabbonim, v'yesh bahem chachomim, v'yesh bahem tzadikim, v'yesh bahem chasidim. So the same rain pours down, but everybody takes it in his way, and it affects him in his way, and he becomes what he ought to become. The Netziv writes in the end of Parshas Shlach in the Hamik Dover, L'fisha ein hiluch avodas Hashem b'tmidu shel kol bnei Yodam shaveh. Not everybody is doing the same thing. Ze oisik b'Torah va'amolo kol hayoyim, v'ze poirish atzmo la'avodah, v'ze l'gmilas chasodim, v'gam b'Torah atzmo, ein kol derech limud shaveh, v'gam b'maisa mitzvahs. The Gemara says in Shabbos, Avuch b'mai zohir tzvei, the yesta moiroim, what was your father's thing? In what was he most careful? V'hoyomar zohir b'mitzvah Shabbos, umar b'mitzvah tzitzis, v'chulei, v'chem b'gmilas chasodim, ein kol ha'oiskim shovim b'halichai seilomom. V'imbo odom lishoil, eizehu derech yeshora, sheyoveloi odom b'derech limudai. If you ask, what's the right way for me to learn? Oy b'ma liyoi zohir tzvei. Al zeh omar koheles, v'halach b'darkei libcha. Follow your heart. He says, Ma sheliboy nimshech acharov borur shemazol ichozi. Ki zeh inyan toiv l'fikoyach nafshe. Yeah, so you know, the Goyen also in Mishlei says on the pasuk, Hoylech b'yoshroi yirei Hashem, ki kol odam tzorech lolechas b'derech hatzorech loy, ki ein midas b'nei odam shavei zelazeh. And as he explains on the pasuk, Chanoich lenar al pidarkoi. So memela kumtois, that Chukas HaTorah is that the same thing could be mitaher tmeim, but it could be mitame tahorim, and everybody has to find what's right for him. And the emes is, so that's really the answer to Korach, who wants to do the avodah l'fnai v'l'fnim. The emes is that the Torah is mitzvasa b'zgan, dafke elozor, dafke not the Kohen Gadol. So there are avodas, there are tasks that are shayach dafke to somebody who is not a Kohen Gadol, mitzvasa b'zgan. The Torah is don chutz l'sholosh machnois. Korach wants to be l'fnai v'l'fnim, but the chatos he of Parah Aduma is a chatos that's done chutz l'sholosh machnos. You know that on Friday, Parshas Chukas, there's a fast. The Magen Avraham brings in Siman Tov Kuf Pei. The Magen Avraham brings that Sifkot and Tes Kosav Atanya. B'yoyim, that's the Tanya Rabossi, the Rishon. Kosav Atanya b'yoyim Ashishi Parshas Chukas nohagu yechidim lehisanois. There's a minute to fast yechidim, meaning Talmidei Chacham. Sheba'oisoi hayoim nisrafu esrim kroinois meleim svarim betzorfas. That was the day that they burnt the Chance in France. 20 wagons full of svarim. Why they make this fast on Friday? Parshas Chukas l'chayre should have a date in the month. He says, "Mipnei shemitoich shaylas chacham noida lohem sheyoyim haparsha gor." A chacham asked, maybe a shaylas cholam, maybe some kind of a ruach hakodesh. Shemitoich shaylas chacham noida lohem sheyoyim haparsha gor gzeiras haTorah. Zois Chukas haTorah metargeminim do gzeiras oraisa. That the Targum on the pasuk Zois Chukas haTorah says do gzeiras oraisa, and this is the remez that this gzeira of burning the Torah in France has to do with Parshas Chukas, and therefore they would koveya the fast for Friday Parshas Chukas. So Avada, it's beyond our comprehension what the shaykhis of burning the Gemaras in France has to do with the parsha of Parah Aduma, which the Torah refers to as Chukas HaTorah. So maybe there's a letter. There's a fascinating letter from the Ramchal. It's a letter to his Rebbe, the Mari Basan, in the Igros Ramchal Ubnei Doiroi, where he writes like this: Omnom Yeda Kvoy Teirosoi. I want you to know that there's a big kasha. It's a tremendous kasha. Since we know everything Hashem does for Yidden is all for their good. How can we even imagine that is good for the Yidden that the Goyim don't let them learn? That's the Inquisition. As Hashas, they banned the Gemaras. I mean, how do we understand that? Says the Ramchal. So he says like this: Omnom tzorich lodas ki kosuv leman tvois beis Yisrael belibam. There's a pasuk in Yecheskel, leman tvois beis Yisrael belibam, and the Gemara says in Kedushin that this is machshavas avodah zarah, because really belibam. Machshava ro ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu mitzaref l'maisa, but machshavas avodah zarah does count, and therefore this is what the pasuk is referring to: leman tvois beis Yisrael belibam. V'zeh ini machshavas avodah zarah shebo chatu Yisrael. V'tzorich lozeh tikun proti milvad ha'maisa. So this is something that needs to be corrected independently in the machshava, outside the realm of maisa. Shaharei haBorei Baruch Hu mitzaref l'maisa v'tzorich shiyu in ken shnei minei dinim. Echad l'tikun ha'maisa, the echad l'tikun ha'machshava. Anyway, he goes on to explain that the only way that we can correct that sin of thinking, avodah zarah, is by thinking and wanting and striving to learn and not being able to. The unrealized ambition, the unrealized desire, the unrealized bikush, that's the tikkun of the machshava. Once a machshava is realized, it's in the realm of maisa. But when somebody wants to learn and he can't do it, that's the tikkun of the machshava, and that is the tikkun of the machshavas avodah zarah of Klal Yisrael during the Tkufas Habayis. So avada, it's soides elyonim, it's soides elyonim. But this really connects with the Chukas HaPorah, because in the Chukas HaPorah we see the Chukas HaTorah of Parah Aduma, that dafka outside the Sholish Machnes, in a place where Gershuni mihistapeach benachlas Hashem. The chatos he is dafke when the Kedushas Damim Lemizbeach is reduced to Kedushas Bedek Habayis, as it's Leiv Bezdin Masne, as it's before in the Sugi and Shavuos. So sometimes the going back, the going down is actually the way that the tikkun comes about. So the Zois Chukas HaTorah is Dog Zeres Araisa, just like the Parah Aduma is a tikkun that happens dafke not through the Kohen Gadol, dafke not through Kedushas Damim, dafke through the Sgan, dafke through Kedushas Bedek Habayis, and dafke Chutz L'Sholosh Machnes, and it's Mitame Ta'orah. But at the same time, it's Mitayet Tmeim, because they need a tikkun that the Tahorim don't need, and this tikkun is dafke from the outside. Like the Maharal writes in the Siva Avoide, V'yadua ki hamisnoinea el davar hu dveikus gomor im hamisnoinea yoisem inishu korav loikvar. Ki hamisnoinea el davar hari einoi imoy. V'im kol zeh hoylech elov, v'zeh hu dveikus v'chibur gomor. He writes in the Nesiva Avoide Perikei. So the answer to Korach is that you don't need to be Lefnai V'Lefnim. What you can accomplish is dafke by being an outsider, striving to be inside, and never being able to accomplish that. So that's an important l'chayre, an important message. I mean to say, if we feel sometimes unsuccessful and not where we would hope and want to be, we shouldn't lose our ambition, because sometimes, we tell ourselves that okay, so that's not me. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's not me. It could be that that's your place to be wanting and not being there. Like the Kotzker Rebbe says, that one should not say lekeshe ipone eshne shema loisi pone. One shouldn't say that when I'll have time, I'll learn, because maybe you'll never have time. He says, Efshe bistu aloisi ponenik. In other words, you're waiting for the right moment. But it could be that your avodah is to always be in the not right moment and do whatever you can in the not right moment, and you'll never be in the right moment. In any case, Rabbi Say, I think that we're going to leave it at that.